Previously on Balls.
James, welcome.
Thanks, D.
Finally made it here.
Well,
after GPS issues.
I've seen the world with you, my brother.
Jeez, like you've got to some places. Made it through Amen Corner, and we're here finally at Waterkloof in Pretoria East. Final weekend of rugby season, and I'm saying thank God.
Yeah, boy, I think there's too much of it, eh?
Yeah,
I think there's too much of it. Although it's going to end with a good one. I think the All Blacks are going to give England a good puck tomorrow.
It's always a nice way to end the year when England get a hiding game.
It's going to be worth watching.
Yeah. All right. So the last couple of games that are coming up this weekend, we obviously done and dusted now.
Yeah.
I mean, how far do you think they'll win that one by tomorrow?
No, I think in a good way. I think they're also focusing on building, and I think they want to go into next year with a real positive energy, and I think they'll get that tomorrow. Eh?
They certainly look like a side that's got a plan. I mean, the way they've been selecting their teams, they can make 14 changes and no one throws their hands up. They know exactly what they seem to be doing.
Yeah.
I think obviously this tour they must have been building for this game. So team they've selected for tomorrow, best available All Black team.
Yeah, and you will see the best available All Black rugby, which is I mean, they showed on this tour, they've showed glimpses of absolute magic. I mean, they've scored some really magic tries, team tries.
Yeah.
They've got a side that all plays for one another. If there's an opportunity, pass the ball. If you're going to get tackled, there's a try on. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be a force, but I still don't think they can live with us, Darren. I think our forwards this year have shown that we are the strongest front eight in the world. Maybe France, we didn't play against France, it would have been a very interesting game.
Yeah. Are you guys off? Cheers, the guys from Castlelogger SAB on their way, Leonard and Nikki. Thanks for popping through, guys. And I just wanted to ask you on the on that subject, us playing against the All Blacks. Now, I think this is one of Heineke's arguments, is that we don't try and beat the All Blacks playing them at their game. So we play them at our strengths and our game, which is kind of the game that he's trying to put forward now. Do you agree with that?
You kick the ball to their back three, which is devastating. Yeah. So I don't know what he's talking about. I think we've always managed to be quite physical with the All Black side. I think we've got the pack to be physical with that All Black side. So that's where I believe where our strength lies. You can't kind of sum it up in one kind of broad stroke understanding of All Black rugby and South African rugby. It's the players that are in that side at that particular time, and you play to your strengths.
Yeah.
And I think there's not enough attention paid to the individual players that make up a side when it comes to Heineke Meyer. I think he tries to get them to fit into something he does as opposed to him fitting into what they can do and being flexible about it.
So with that in mind, and the old, if the All Blacks arrive tomorrow for a test match, you think we'd still beat them?
Look, I think we showed this year that our forwards are better than their forwards. I believe that our eight, whatever eight we put out there, is better than theirs. And that's where the game starts for the All Blacks.
Yeah.
So if we can disrupt that, and they're not good, the backline players, their back three are never good on the back foot.
Yeah.
So if we get dominance up front, I believe we could beat them.
We get dominance up front, and I think that's one of the key points. We get dominance up front. So we win that battle, but so we get a decent amount of ball. What do we do with it against a side like that? Because you say kicking it down their back three's throats is not the way to do it.
No, it's an issue. Kicking a ball on the front foot is an art, because you've got to suck up those back three of New Zealand that are so powerful. Whoever they are, Israel, Dag, it doesn't matter who they choose. You've got to suck them up. You've got to push him into a corner and then kick into the corner that's unavailable. And that's something I don't think we got right. But I think that's also experience from the far off position. Morno obviously being out of form. But we've got that dominance that we can do that. They always turn the big guys. The left winger of theirs now is a big boy, doesn't turn well. They've never turned well, the New Zealanders. So, it's a matter of kicking the right ball. But we've got to come up with options. I think we need to draft the inside centre into our football that is going to be around for a long, long time. I'd like to see a young Robert Eberson coming to our side and look after that back line and look after. Jean's tired now. He's tired of looking after. He's tired of that responsibility. He's trying to earn his cash and just go quietly.
Didn't you? Was it not you? I think last week or on one of our previous shows where you suggested maybe looking at a Ferguson at 12.
Well, Goosen isn't physical enough, unfortunately. 12 is a hell of a position. I mean,
Campo, wasn't it?
Just Campo. I think he was talking about maybe putting Goosen at 12.
But that's because Campo never tackled anything in his whole bloody life. Yeah, it's a physical. That inside centre role you cannot hide. You bring the defensive lines up, and you've really got to be a physical, in-your-face, Frank Bunce type footballer, Timmy Horan type footballer. And I think we've got in Robert Everson, we've got that. He's got that leadership quality. If you looked at him at the end of the season, in the Currie Cup season, with the Free State side, he's a youngster, 22 years old, and he's looking after. He's, you know what I mean, he's calling the shots. So
he's got the pedigree as well.
It's that leadership that you need in that role that takes away all that pressure on our floor off in this country.
Front Stain?
Front Stain is a great footballer. I'd play him at outside centre.
Okay.
He's not a decision maker. We've seen at fullback when he's got time to make decisions, he doesn't make good decisions. You know, so I'd play him at outside centre. I wouldn't play him at fullback, but that key role of that pivot when the ball comes to the back line, how that ball gets distributed in the back line needs to be given to a thinking man's footballer.
Yeah.
And Everson is the one that I would select in that role.
Right. Been having quite a few conversations, and I think people looking ahead to next year now are starting to say, you know, is John the right guy? Can he captain the side from where he is playing? I mean, you're saying that maybe it is time to look beyond him as well. But people are calling for Adrian Strauss to take over as the captain. Now, I mean, he's not a long-term. He's a fill-in solution, surely, because you're not going to get into a scenario. We're looking for trouble. If we get our players back next year, like Skulk, if he does carry on playing, which he says he is going to. But when Bismarck comes back, you can't get into a scenario where you make a captain again and bench him. The Oak will give up. Yeah, he'll give up.
I'd wear a black jersey if I was him there.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Listen, I mean, Adrian Strauss has done a good job, but he's not. He doesn't have X factor, Darren. Dion Fourie, I would convert back to a hooker to bring us a second string hooker, and we wait for Bismarck to come back. But your forwards, I mean, if Bismarck is there, I believe he should be the captain.
Yeah.
He did a good job with the Sharks side. He trains hard. Apparently, he earns a lot of respect off the field, which is a big key to what you do. You know, he drives them. He gets them up in the mornings. He sets the benchmark when he's training. So that's half the battle. A guy like Val Bartman, who was physically inept, but trained harder than anybody and gave it more effort than anybody else. And that's kind of what Bismarck brings.
Right, interesting choice there. But I mean, if Skulk does play again, surely you make him captain. Because he was going to be the captain anyway if he was playing.
Yeah, but I mean, he's also, you can't just get rushed back into that pressure. He should be given a little bit of freedom to come back and play at his own pace, you know what I mean, without the responsibility of his captaincy, without the responsibility of being an international captain, because there's a media frenzy that goes on around it. There's a whole lot of stuff that people don't see that he doesn't want to be part of. He just wants to focus on his game. So.
Well, you'll have that opportunity when he's back for the Stormers next year. So, at least, there's...
But at international level, it's different.
Yeah.
So he's got to be given that opportunity at international level as well. 5, 6, 10 games.
Okay. Simon?
No, nothing.
You were looking at me expectantly as though you had a pertinent question or comment.
No, I actually wanted to ask James highs and lows of the season. If you had to think of one specific high and one specific low, and what the Springboks need to look at next year in order to improve.
I think the first test match we played against the All Blacks in the Tri Nations, the away test match, and to see how we lost the game, but how we dominated them. I think that was a highlight for me, because we haven't had the dominance up front like we've had over them for a long, long time. Obviously, our front row is going to change around a little bit, but I believe we've got the players here to make it phenomenal. And then the low would be probably Soccer City. Going to watch that shambles.
Yeah.
We had a great day. Jules and I flew into the game, and this and the next thing, and it just ended up being...
It was an anticlimax.
It was such an anticlimax.
Everything was great about it except the game itself.
Yeah.
All right. My high was Earl Rose, the fish chop.
Yeah, I think he was also high when he did that. He was his high as well.
All right. And your player of the year?
Jeez, that's a good one. I think it's the best qualifiers. I think... morally, if not, I think he's still a bit raw. I think he doesn't really know where to put himself on the park, and also with the game plan, I don't think he's instructed where to go on the game, on the park. So I think he's a little bit all over the place with his loose play. His set phases are brilliant, but he brings a moral victory for us. He brings that, you know what I mean. You saw those Englishmen going after him, and he got up, no emotion. You know what I mean?
He continues that Bucky's
I'm going to
legacy.
rip your head off, 100%. And that element that only comes, Bucky's, it comes in one player every, generation.
Who was the enforcer in your 95 side?
Kubis.
Kubis, eh?
Yeah, Kubis.
Although he did try and do it during the haka.
Yeah, Kubis did it famously with the Jones, the big lock from Wales at Ellis Park, the 50,000 rand punch.
Okay.
Derwin Jones.
Derwin
Jones. 5'3" or whatever he was, and he knocked him out in the first minute of the game.
Well, Kubis, but he was well conditioned by Audrey Geldenhuys in his pre-Springbok days. Geez, those two used to have a couple of running battles on the field.
Worst player of the season?
It's a bit harsh.
Got it said.
No, that is a bit harsh.
No, well, okay, disappointment of the season.
It would be Mornay. Because I think Mornay had the coach on his side. He had everybody on his side, you know what I mean? And he didn't seem to come out of himself. I would say Mornay and probably Francois Hoogwaard. Francois Hoogwaard for me is...
But they buggered him around a lot. I mean, he's begging to just be played at 9. He is a scrum half.
Yeah.
The fact that he is quick, I mean, no one asked to go and play on the wing. They put him on the wing because they want to have him on the field. That's not his fault, though. I mean, he's doing it for his country.
But Darren, if you get to play.
Yeah, well, that's...
You know what I mean? I just sit out there and sulk. So
it's like the Oak saying, well, you've got to be on the field and we don't have a spot for you on the wing because you've got to play X and Y, so go and play flank.
Compliment. Because they're trying to get you on the field.
Well, that is
so
a compliment.
There's two very different ways of looking at that.
But it doesn't mean that you specialize in that position.
No, it doesn't mean that you're going to get caught out of position and this, that, and the next thing, which he did get done. And he got done a couple of times on the outside and what have you. But he never got involved with the game. And that was my disappointment with him. But I think more than anybody else had the opportunity to get out of his slump. He had the backing of the coach. He had the backing of
a lot of the backing of the public.
No. Well, that's your public. You don't live in Pretoria, bro. I think he had that. You know what I mean?
Well, the media. When I say the public and the media were against him.
They gave him a hard time, and I don't think he knew how to deal with it. Also, changing his scrum off from Faridu Priya being one of the greatest scrum offs that has ever played the game, and a manager of the game and an understanding of the game, second to none. To go to guys that haven't got confidence. Ruan didn't have confidence, still battling with his confidence. And then between Ruan and Francois and this one and that one, it didn't help his cause at all.
Yeah. The other one I think needs to mention is Brian Abana, because after what he came back from a couple of years ago, getting booed and the way he's played this year, I mean, for me, that was the bright spot of the year for me from a player point of view.
I kind of come to expect it from Brian. I think, you know what I mean? I think, having played wing myself, you realize you go through dips and this, that, and the next thing. He had to man up to it, and he did. But he's an exceptional footballer. He's really one of my favorite rugby players.
And I think we must also make a mention. Front Row Grunt yesterday tweeted just before after we wrapped up blogs, and he said his player of the year definitely Yanni du Plessis, because that oak puts in a lot of work every game, man. And he does such a damn good job.
And you know what the worst thing is, that in rugby they say you're remembered for your last game, and he's going to be remembered. You could see he was exhausted.
Yeah.
He was just physically exhausted. He couldn't give any more.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I mean, guys like that are the unsung heroes. They don't get to score the points and do the flashy stuff. But we need a replacement for him now.
Yeah, geez, that's desperate. All right. Well, look, I mean, next year rugby kicks off again with Super Rugby, and already the guys are in pre-season. So I think, honestly, next year there will be some kind of an uprising or something by either the players or someone just about the amount of rugby that they play. I think it's going to come to a head next year, and they're going to be changes mooted, even if they don't happen. They can't happen next year, but I think for the following year, there will definitely be a demand for some changes and to scale things down. John O'Neill's gone now. He was one of the big protagonists of this, just piling in more games and more games and more games. But I think next year things are going to start changing.
Yeah, but it's not only game time. I mean, if it was just the game time, but I mean, your pre-season has got to start that much earlier.
Yeah.
The real hard work that gets done off the park is now being done now for next season. So your body never gets really a chance to recover. You're shortening the lifespan of footballers. You're increasing the risk for injury. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And people have had enough.
Yeah.
People aren't paying to go to the games.
Yeah.
So reduce it, make them look forward to elements of the game.
And bring in tours again.
Otherwise, they play American football every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't.
Yeah. All right. Well, there it is. That's the hangout for this week.
Can I leave you with something?
What?
I want a points for and a points against for the EP Kings in the Super 15 next year. You've asked me the whole season for my predictions on
Yes.
on who should who and what and whatever. 1 point last week, by the way, not bad, eh?
No, that was
No,
right
you
on
were
the button.
spot on, eh?
Yeah.
1-0. But can
give
you
you
try
money
and
on that.
guess what the points for and the points against would be?
That's a good call.
Okay.
Well, let's see
So you
points
got 14
difference at the end of Super Rugby, in other words. What
Yeah,
the
you
points
got
that'll be
14
minus
games.
what? Yeah.
For and against. I'm going to go upwards of 500.
504. 504. Okay, the
Against.
difference between
Yeah.
the
Difference,
two.
minus
Yeah.
500.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 14 games, that's an average of about 40 points a game. Eh?
That's what I'm going for.
I think, look, I mean, first of all, I think they should bring in the darts commentators for the Crusaders game in Christchurch.
Oh.
So you can do the 120 when the Crusaders get there.
100.
So I think I'll take a big walloping from the Crusaders. I think they'll take more than 40 points in all their away games. Yeah, 500 is actually a good. I mean, look, they
I'd
might
say
sneak.
450, 500.
Yeah, 500 is a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
it's
right.
gonna
So
be-
let's remember those words.
Yeah.
Huh?
All right. James, thanks a lot, bud. Thanks
Thanks,
for your
bud.
contribution during the course of the year. We look forward to welcoming you back next year again.
Okay.
All right, with some pay.
Darren, it's not important. You've done.
Oh, you say that now.
Yeah.
You're doing good things, boys. You must just be patient. That's all.
We're really looking forward to inviting you back next year for the Hangout. Thanks a lot for being here on our roadshow with the Drosses
Okay.
and Castle Lager and Nampak Bevcan, and also for your Hangouts every Friday in studio.
This is Balls Visual Radio. Darren, Simon, Kate, and John. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African Time. Balls.co.za.